right, we are live. Hello, ladies.
Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
Can we
How are y'all
get this?
today?
Fantastic. Having an
Fabulous.
amazing day.
I've done nothing except for things I wanted all day long.
Well,
Even better.
Yeah.
that's great. I
And
want to
that
have a
includes
day like
work
that.
stuff, but it was all stuff I wanted to do. So it's been so nice.
Yeah, aren't we blessed to be in that place in our life that this is all
Yep.
about living it
Yes.
exactly
I'm
how we
just glad
want?
I figured it out.
Yeah, right? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I
I
had to
get
get
to
out of
do
my own
this.
way.
Yep, for sure. For
So,
sure.
All right.
Is
So
Chisa
who's going to
talking?
lead us off today? Are you going
can
to
you hear me?
talk first,
Can you hear me
Chisa?
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
My thing.
Oh, you've
My
been
thing
talking?
my thing disconnected. It's been great. I mean, so I don't know, but so for me, of course, I'm Tisa Butler. I am a transformational coach, and for me, my habits. Along with my expectation, right? Because that's my thing. Everything I do is what I expect in life. And when I set out to do things, like today, I launched my journal. And at, at first I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. But then it's like, why can't I? Like we create these things in our head, these thoughts that in the end, when they come out, you're like, well, that wasn't that hard. It's like
Right?
after you go through the hard work, but the habits that I created, so for me, I wanted to be a member of the 5 a.m. club. 5 a.m. comes early as hell, y'all. Especially if I'm trying to finish something at night. That balance, that shut down at night to that, okay, you really got to go to sleep because you need to wake up in the morning to get these things done. Because I found that um, being a 5 a.m. member, it helps me get my workout in the morning.
Mhm.
And then once I get that workout, everything else will flow. Instead, like before, I was waking up, I would still, do, meditate, do all my stuff, but I would not be able to work out. So I was like, well, when we get home from dropping my daughter off to school, we can work out. But then sometimes my son's like, I don't want to go walking. I don't want to go run. And then I'm like, well, you know what? Since you don't want to go right now, let me go and do some stuff. And, I'm on the computer and I'm like, then 12 o'clock comes and I'm like, I didn't damn work out. Like, what am I doing? So it's where I had to set that intention, right? Be intentional about where I wanted to be, how I wanted to fall out. So for me, going to bed by 10, because that's my cutoff time, 10 o'clock. Anything after that, don't call me, don't text me, don't message me. Okay, if you're dying, then call twice, right? That's what my sister says. She's like, it's night time. If you call back to back, then I know it's a real thing and I'll answer. If you just call once, I won't. But for me, it was if I this what am I doing? What am I truly doing? How do I want me to show up? Because when you're rushing in the morning, when you're doing all these things, and so for the last one of my habits, right, is telling my daughter, chop chop, let's go, let's go. Can you come on? Like, what are you doing? So I had to really look at myself and say, how am I showing up? What is the energy I'm bringing to this? Because when yesterday was my first day doing it, right? I said, you know what? I'm gonna go into this with no expectations because that played a part, right? So I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, baby. I give her a 5-minute timer to pee because I'll tell y'all, she'll sit on the toilet for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And I was like, what are you doing? Do you have that much pee in your body? Because at this point, who pees for 10 minutes? But the anxiety I built up, that
Oh.
played a part in my, not feeling good, like my energy level being down because then not through my day off because I'm yelling and carrying on over something that I can't control how fast she moves. So in reality, I created the habit of me getting up, being in a good mindset, and showing up how I would show up and how I would want somebody to show up for me. So for me, I set for my habits. I get up at 5 a.m. I'm in bed by 10. So I work, I get up, I move around, I make sure that I bring me the best I can, because in the end, if I don't show up my best, that's when I start to fail, because then I'm stressed out. I have low energy. The things that I do, it's how you prepare yourself in the morning is where it goes in the rest of the time frame.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I joined that club too, and I am someone who has a problem in the morning. But I
Oh,
did it. But it had to do with getting the habit of the night before of winding
yes.
down at 8:30, so that I'm laying down by 9:30, so that I'm asleep by 10.
Yeah.
Because like this
I'm gonna get
morning I
there.
got there at 5:15. I usually get there at 5:50, but a friend wanted to
Oh,
go at 5, and I was like, well, I can do 5:15. I can't commit to 5 yet,
yeah.
but 5:15 I'm there, and I did it.
Yay.
Yeah, it's so much better because I would miss the workout otherwise.
Yeah. The other
Yep.
thing I started doing is setting my alarm and leaving it in the kitchen, like it's on my phone.
That
Oh,
that
you
didn't
gotta
work
get
for me
up.
before.
Forces me to get up out of
I would
bed.
just listen to it and go back to sleep.
Oh, I don't, because it goes off and off and off and off. So that forces me to get out of bed.
Mhm.
Sometimes I crawl back in.
Mhm.
Sometimes, right?
Yeah, you got to
Sometimes.
get out. You got to keep
And that's
going.
okay. Yeah.
Get
But
that
I'm getting
coffee in
out.
you or whatever.
That's
Usually in the middle of a great dream, right? That's usually it.
that amazing dream. You're like, oh no, I gotta go back, lay down, and finish this dream. I almost saved the world, guys.
That was another thing, getting into the habit of sleep, really, because I learned all about inflammation and all these things that would heal your body, and sleep was so big, but I wasn't a very good sleeper, and I have an Aura ring, and it literally tracks your sleep. It tells me how much sleep I had, how deep when I slept deep, when I
Oh,
slept
nice.
light, when I REM slept, and I just started REM sleeping again for the first time in forever. Just started dreaming, have no idea why. But now I
Yeah.
know, like, and it'll tell me, oh, be careful on your activity today because you didn't get that much sleep last night. It tells me when my heart rate dropped
Yes.
at night. And that let me see, oh, wow, I really need to eat earlier in the night for my heart rate to be able to drop earlier so I can recover faster.
Yes.
But yeah, really getting into that sleep was hard.
Wow. Yeah.
Hmm.
A lot of people have that problem, especially
Mhm.
with their minds racing with everything that's going on in life and in their life in
Yes.
particular. So that is super important. So like, that's why they say, like, give yourself that 30 minutes, 45 minutes before bed to wind down.
Yes.
Now,
And my
you
my
know,
daughter was visiting for the last 3 weeks, and it just wrecked everything. And I would
Oh,
barely
yes.
get into bed by 10, but I
mhm.
was still getting up at 5. So it was hard. It was
Yeah.
harder, but I
Oh, yeah, yeah.
survived.
You did it.
She's taken off, so everything's calming back down. But I think my number one habit that helps me is what I pour into myself, like what I'm listening
Yes.
to, what I'm watching, what I'm allowing to affect my thoughts. That was a
Absolutely.
big change.
Shutting off cable,
Hmm.
you
Yeah, I
know,
gave up the whole
commercials.
box.
Yeah.
And it took my husband a few years to really give up the box because he wanted it for football. But I really wanted to quit TV because of commercials. And I mean, I had a food
Mhm.
addiction and I had an emotional eating problem, and I recognized it and I could control it to an extent. But seriously, when you're watching football and all you see is beer and pizza
Yep.
that looks so good, and everybody wants to eat everything during football season like it's a thing. And I was like, no, I'm not watching it anymore. I'm
Football
not going to
season,
subject myself to that.
it rolls us right into the holidays. It
I
starts the holiday
know.
season. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's it
So,
right there.
so the habit that I changed, and I think Heather, you said the same thing last week, the habit that I changed that has opened up a whole new world for me is that I removed alcohol from my nightly routine.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. Hardest
And
change ever.
Beautiful.
that has allowed me to, so then I was able to replace my habit with crocheting
Oh,
last year.
wow.
So I made a couple Afghans that I gave away for Christmas presents, but it's just opened up a whole new world where I can get up refreshed. I can
Yes.
get up when the alarm goes off. And in the morning, I start before coffee, which is not what I used to do, because if I was drinking at night, I started my day with coffee. I now drink
Mhm.
my 2 glasses of water.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
just so refreshing for myself before I do anything. And she said and Heather said that you're part of the 5 a.m. club. Well, I'm part of the 60 and Thriving club. So
That's fantastic.
that's me. And life is still happening. and I'm so excited to just form these healthy habits of well-being and health and eating and activity, and
Yeah,
it's
and a
pretty
glass
awesome.
of wine also required me to sit down and relax because that's what you do, or that's what I did when I drank wine.
When you
So
drink
I would
wine,
just
right?
want to sit and enjoy something terrible on TV usually, which really made me
Oh,
laugh or whatever it did. But when you're like, I can't do that. I can't become that. I don't have time for that. But I did have
yep.
time. I was just using it differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a big change. And all of a sudden I'm like, how am I getting all this done? Well, I'm not spending 2 hours a night relaxing. But it's
Relaxing.
more relaxing to be moving.
Yes, to be active,
Strangely, it's more rewarding.
productive. That's the word,
Yeah.
right? To be more productive.
It feels good.
Well, who wants to go next and talk about a habit? Well, I guess that is a habit, right? Stop drinking. No drinking coffee. The 60
What's
and
your
Thriving
habit,
Club.
Jessica? Did you tell us?
I've
Oh yeah, your
just been
alarm.
chiming in on all of this because I'm with all of that. One of my habits is the be here now. I love the be here now. And
Yeah.
I have definitely kept the alarms on my phone. They're random through the day, through the week. So I never know when they're going to go off. I change them.
Oh, you
And
do?
it's kind of cool because it just really does make me stop and think, what am I thinking? Where am I at? And what am I doing? How am I feeling? And brings me back to the present, which is, pretty powerful stuff sometimes, because it's amazing how many times I catch myself, in a
Yes.
In the
spin.
future worrying or in the past regretting.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing is, again, the, sitting is the new smoking type of thing. So I'm forcing myself
Oh,
to
yeah.
get up off my chair at least 3 times a day to do some real 20 minutes of walking, gardening, something.
Yeah. I move a lot in the morning, but that ring will send me a message on my phone. It's like time to stretch your legs a little bit. And I'm like, how do I turn that off?
Yeah.
No, it's not time. That's true. I hadn't heard that sitting is the new smoking, but it makes sense.
Well, because we're all sitting in front of our desks nowadays. I mean, most of the world has been forced to stay at home, with their jobs, and they're gotten pretty comfortable at it. So, take a smoke break, not really,
Yeah.
but take the break and go out and stretch your legs,
Yes.
and it's good for everything. Keeps our stuff,
Moving.
I have a stand-up
yoga.
desk.
I'm sorry.
I have a stand-up desk, so I move it up and down. We got it from
Nice.
Costco a couple years ago, and my husband, when we actually moved into our house here, he's like, "Oh, I don't think these desks really go with what the look he was going for." I was like, "Sir, I need the stand-up desk." I was like, "You fought so hard for this damn stand-up desk. We using this desk." So now I'm like, some days I just put it up, stand up, and then when I'm like, okay, let me sit down when I want to focus, I'm like, okay, let me put it back down. But for me, that was it right there. Because
That's a good idea.
when I was in the military, the smokers, they took all kinds of damn breaks, and I'm like, well, I'm sitting here working hard, and you out there smoking. Well, I'm about to go take my smoke break. They're like, you don't smoke. I said, what does it matter? I
Right.
need a smoke break. I'm gonna take me a smoke break, and if I just stand here and be cute, that's what I'm going to do. But it's the real thing. Like, you don't smoke, still take a smoke break. That's how you balance it, right?
Such a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mental health break.
They got way more than the 15 in the beginning of the day,
Yes.
the 15 at the end, and the 30 at lunch.
Yes.
They got, hours of
Yes.
breaks with
I'm
smokers.
like, let's really calculate how much time are you spending outside, and how much work, how productive are you? Because this, I feel like I'm doing more work. So I'm gonna take a smoke break too. We going out? Let's go.
Right.
So how are we going to use our habits to serve us during the holidays this year? Is there anything in particular that you're going to do differently or stick to?
So for me, when the whole that I guess that hereditary thing, right, where you pile your plate up with food and you eat till you're full.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, yeah. So for me, I get what I want, the amount that I want, even if it's a little bit of everything, right? It's just a little bit. It's not like a full pile-on serving. You just get a little bit of everything, or you get a little of one thing now and go back, because we always, once we get up and we move, it's gone by the time what they say that Chinese food, right? When you eat that Chinese food, as soon as you burp, it's gone, right? But if you just, for me, it's being mindful of in the end how you truly want to feel. So yes, you can eat the food. It's just, I mean, well, when you have leftovers, everybody's like, well, we're gonna eat leftovers today, tomorrow, however long it's taken, but still only eat that fistful, that, you know, like if it can fit in your fist, that magic plate, and we could share the magic plate
baby.
on down here. Like, I'll share the magic plate in the comments so you can see. It's about being mindful about the size portions, because in the end, yes, Thanksgiving comes around every year, and then we turn around, go to Christmas, and you eat the same damn food for Christmas. So now you're in the point where, okay, when do you stop? Because we want to have a different habit. So for me, it's always been the small amounts, the small portions, because the food will be there. It will be there when we go back. It's taking, and the 20-minute meal, right? Taking 20 minutes to actually eat your meal, enjoy your meal, taste your food. That right there is the biggest thing. Like, time yourself how long it takes you to eat a meal, because in the end, you'd be surprised. Like, me and my husband, when we first started doing the 20-minute meal, I'm like, how long we been on? Oh, we just ate all our food and it's only been 2 minutes.
Right.
We are failing.
It's shocking how fast you eat. I mean, until you get intentional about it.
It's super. And so I'm doing this this activity on chewing food too, right? I mean, the saliva helps break down all of that food, so it gets into our bodies, all the nutrients get into our bodies, and we're not even doing that. We're just swallowing it down and expecting our stomachs to handle digestion.
It down. And then you wonder why you have indigestion and stomach pains and all those different things.
When your food's not chewed, that's pretty bad.
And one of the things we have all learned is that during this busy, busy, busy time and eating on the run and having digestive issues, that we can calm our minds by doing the 5-5-7 breathing technique. And 10 times, where you breathe in for 5 and hold for 5 and exhale for 7, 10 times. It takes about 2 minutes. Your metabolism goes from a stressed to relaxed state. And then you can continue to metabolize your food, even if maybe it's not as healthy eating that, because for me, from Halloween to the end of the year, it's a slippery slope.
Oh, God.
And, but every time, this is the habit I'm going to try, do. Before I eat is do the 5-5-7. And there's so many benefits to that. Number one, it slows me down and makes me intentional, but it's also doing my body good before the food that is entering it. And and another thing is I have a little mantra that is what I'm doing supporting the life that I'm trying to create.
Yes.
Great mantra.
And, no matter what I'm going to say going to be harmful or helpful? Is what I'm going to eat going to be harmful or helpful? Is stepping back and letting someone go ahead of me going to be harmful or helpful? I have this vision of my life. And I'm purposeful on what I want that end game to be. And so
that is so high level. That's so good.
That's kind of what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. I have a little sticker on my pantry and a little sticker on my refrigerator. Those removable ones. They're chalk. You can write with chalk on them, and it says decide. And for a while, I just ignored it. And then I saw it one day, and I was like, oh, yeah, it does say decide right there. I need to decide if that's what I really want to do. Do I really want to eat that? That's really what it's there for.
Yes.
Plan the meals, clean the refrigerator. Cleaning my refrigerator out is huge for me. And I learned that in my Nutritious Life program because it's a visual cue. And when you look in there and it looks beautiful and clean and you can see all your veggies like sitting up there so nice, you want to eat them. But when it looks ugly and it stinks or everything's just shoved in and there's no method to the madness, you want to go out to eat, basically. You don't want to get anything out of your refrigerator to cook it. So I clean it every Sunday now. Well, not at most Sundays I clean it.
Almost every
And
Sunday, right?
my husband loves that. It's like his dream come true.
Oh, nice.
I don't fold any laundry hardly ever, but I clean the refrigerator.
That's a good trade-off, Heather.
I think so.
Yeah,
That
that's
way
a
everything
little-
fits from the laundry. You may have to dig in a basket for it, but it fits.
That's funny.
with
But
a
that
little-
breathing
socks
technique,
and
Lisa,
all.
I just read the book Breathe by James Nader, and that book rocked my world. And he talks about the science
Breathe.
in that longer breath out and the carbon dioxide. I can't explain it, but oh my gosh, that was a surprisingly good book and easy
How-
to read.
how I actually think about it is that I'm breathing in a cleansing breath and I'm holding it and then I'm letting out all the toxics.
Mhm.
So I need a
You
little
are.
bit more time to get that out.
Mhm.
And and it's free.
Mhm.
It's
Yes,
a free
it is.
it's a free activity and it's a free thing that you can have with you at all times.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an
So-
Olympic team that implemented that into their workout routines and just soared and won all the gold that year. I can't remember who, what, when, where, why, or how, but it's in his book. It was a really good book. It was really surprising
Beautiful.
what all our breath does for us.
That's why I take a breath, guys. Take a breath before
Right.
people get into that, that favorite word I love, that overwhelm, right?
Mhm.
Did you take a breath before you started freaking out and literally just look at your situation? Is it going to kill you right now? Like,
Mhm.
is it? People stress about the little things, and I mean, me too. My anxiety. Sometimes I'm like, oh my god, like I gotta get this done. What the heck? But if I stop and take a breath before I do make any rash
Yes.
decisions, because that's reality, right? We make these rash decisions, and then we're like, damn it, I shouldn't have did that. Like, what was I thinking? But we weren't thinking. We just was like, oh, this got to be done. Or I promised that person this. But in reality, that person would appreciate it more if you come from a place of calm instead of bringing that negative energy with you, because that's where it all comes from. Like that negativity will make everything worse. It will. And people be like, well, it's okay. But then you're like, I should have never did that. Or you beat yourself up, right? Like, why the heck did I do that? Like, I could have just waited 2 more minutes and it would have been better. Like, but we don't wait that 2 minutes. We take, and then that takes us into a different place, right? Then we stress all day because that one moment that we didn't breathe, now we're like, freaking A. Like, I know it's
Yes.
stupid, right?
And I think breath is the only autonomic nervous system component that we have control over.
Yes.
We can calm our heart with it. You can clear your mind with it. But when I think back, that was one of the very first things that I did when I couldn't do anything. I didn't feel like I could meditate. It was hard to get out of bed in the morning. I would make myself take 60 deep breaths. And it takes a long time to take 60 deep breaths before I got out of bed. And then I'd think the grateful thought. But that's where I started. And it does it when you're counting 60 breaths. I mean, you can't think about anything else because you're like, God, I don't want to lose this count. Because I don't want to start over because it takes forever.
60 is a big number.
I worked up to 60. I started with 10, I think.
Oh,
But yeah,
goodness.
my acupuncturist was like, you should try taking some deep breaths. And so that's how I did it, laying in bed before I got up.
What's the first thing we do as a baby?
Breathe or cry.
Yeah.
Which is
You gotta breathe to cry.
Let it all out.
Which is still
Our
a
first
breath.
thing is
Usually
a
it's
breath.
the
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's a good
And
one.
the last thing we do is,
Breathe
you
out.
know,
exhale.
so it is quite the essence of life. And if we get a grasp on that, and everything, like she said, mentioned the word overwhelm earlier. Every feeling is a choice, right?
Okay.
I mean, every feeling.
That is hard to learn, but it is. Every feeling is a choice.
But if we can breathe a little bit, then we can come back and say, now I can be overwhelmed or I cannot. And it truly is a choice. And
We get
it's
to
like,
decide.
how do you want the next 30 seconds or the next 5 minutes of your life to be? And for me, I'm always doing that, especially with dealing with an elderly mom. It's like, how do I want to respond? If I respond this way, it's going to go this way. And if I respond this way, it's going to go this way. and what's going to create more peace for me. And what's creating more peace for me is not saying what I want to say.
Yep.
Because there's going to be a reaction to what I want to say.
Mm.
And it's not going to be good. So biting my tongue has created a lot of freedom and peace in my life.
Taking that breath.
Taking that breath.
That's me. Oh my God. Like I have to, before I respond to things, I'm like, who do I want to be right now? Who do I want to show up as? Like, do I want to eat your face off, or do I want to be nice? Like that's really like, how do I want to show up? Like, taking that breath makes you think twice, makes you really double take what you're going to say to somebody, because it's that energy, and that it always comes back to that energy you bring. Like, do you really want that negative energy once you say it? Because you can't take it back. That's my biggest thing, right? Words you can never take a word back. Because people, growing up, they were like, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. No, they do.
Not really true.
Like, who made up that stupid saying? I don't know, but words do hurt. And I always tell my husband, like, think before you speak. Like, I had to ask him yesterday, did your mama tell you to think before you speak? Did she teach you that? Because you truly need to stop and think, like, really process. Like, when it comes out your mouth, is it going to sound as great as it did in your head? Because sometimes maybe we should stop and not say it, but like, write it down.
Yeah.
And then how it comes across to that person may be less negative if you write it down and have them read it.
Yeah.
Or
writing it down. Yes. Because then you see it and you can maybe hear it like someone else would.
We can write a book, The Pause Factor, for husbands.
The Pause
Significant
Factor.
others.
That's a great title, The Pause Factor.
Oh my goodness. Like, just stop. Just like stop.
Well, and sometimes it can help me think too. Like, sometimes somebody in a call will ask me a really hard question and I really don't have the answer at all. And so I'll just take a deep breath, and sometimes something will come to me because I let it, I stop trying to think, what is it? What can I say? And I just breathe through it. And then
trying to have that perfect answer.
Pop up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We always try to find that perfect answer, right? Like, I have to tell this person this amazing thought, when just breathe could be the most amazing thing somebody needs.
Yeah. And you can give it a think. I like that saying. My husband worked with an Australian guy, and he would always say, I'm going to give that a think. So I started saying it because I thought it was clever.
Like, let's give that a think. Let's think about this. Where are we going to go with this? What are we going to do? I always ask, what do you want to achieve? I had a friend, I was talking to her, and she, with her, you know how like you create something that's not there? Everybody does it, but she's like, I need to know this specific thing. And I'm like, but why? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, so why did you put so much time and energy into needing to know that specific thing? It really doesn't change. It's not going to change your result, right? It's just going to make you more mad. So, and not in every situation that's the same thing, but when you're trying to fight for that perfect answer, that perfect thing, ask yourself, what is that result you really want? And is that going to change anything that you like, anything, if you didn't take that moment? Like, we're rushing through life. We are rushing, not even enjoying the little things. And a lot of times, like recently, a lot of things come up for me, not the work-life balance, right? We have to give it both the same amount of energy, the same amount of time, but then we choose to give one more power than the other. And that now says, this is more important than this, because of the fact that you just gave that 10 hours and you only gave me a minute. Like, where does that end? Where's that balance end? And that's what the holidays, right? We spend so much time out trying to buy presents, buy this, buy that, when all somebody probably needs is a minute of your time. And it may be more than a minute, but that gift you're searching for, or that thing you have to perfect, would that perfection be better spending that quality time with somebody and giving them a little bit more of your energy, of your positivity, than that $10,000 gift? I mean, that was extreme, right? But that gift that you feel that they need to have, when time would be better than time is priceless.
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
So the holidays, our time, we got to be more conscious of our time. Be conscious of what you're doing. That right there is the peak, right? You need to figure out the time you're going to take to eat, the time you're going to spend with family, the time you're going to invest in whatever it is you're doing. How are you balancing that time?
Well, and how are you going to show up?
Set
like we were
boundaries for
saying.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
The boundaries, that's a good idea.
So I'm all about tripping people up, believe it or not. And I'll give you an example. So my homeowners association, and this has to do with breathing, and this has to do with energy and figuring out what the outcome is I want to have beforehand. And our homeowners association sent us a letter inviting us to a hearing to discuss that yet again we left our garage door open.
Oh my God. What? This is your homeowners? Oh my God.
Oh.
So I'm reading this, that on October 11th at 9:20 at night, you left your garage door open again. And I think, well, when was the first time? You know, I'm curious when that was. But you're invited to an association hearing on, it was 2 nights ago at 7 p.m. So I was just ready to go. And they went through their whole meeting for an hour. Then they did their executive meeting. And then they took me out of the Zoom, put me in the waiting, and brought me in.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
And my husband's sitting here next to me, and he's gonna be
I was
ready to go. And I said, you know, I just want you to know that 99% of the time my garage door is closed.
Yeah.
And 1% of the time it might be open, and I can guarantee that it's going to happen again because I am doing life. I am dealing with my mom. I come in from the grocery store with my hands full. I do stuff, but I have every intent to close my garage. So if you want to find me, I'm happy to pay it.
Oh
And
wow.
That's amazing.
the person that was the representative of the association says, oh, I just left my garage door open just yesterday when I went to the garage. So what it did is it showed them. And they said, Lisa, that was so refreshing. So they were ready on guard.
Yep.
For a different response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
They were
gave
ready
them
to
a
fight.
response of humanness and kindness. And I'm not trying to tout my horn, but
Hey, toot it, girl, because you did. You came with that positivity.
But they
Yeah.
like tore it up. And
Yep.
I don't think they're going to do that to anyone anymore.
No.
You
You
know?
created that change that needs to happen. That's the thing. We bring the energy we bring into a situation where people expect you to go off and react like everybody else did. When you're like, you know what? It's cool. I'm okay with that. Whatever.
Yeah.
And
Is somebody standing there monitoring 24 hours? Because that's
exactly.
crazy.
How are they doing that? It's like, when are they? And so I called and I said, well, when was the first time? You know, September.
Yes.
And they go, oh, and you did it again. I go, well, what day was that? And that was last week. And it's like, you know, I have stuff in my garage that I don't want exposed. So I do have the intent to keep my garage door closed.
Yeah.
And regardless of all that, it worked out in the end. And what my husband says, if I had handled that, it would have not had the same outcome.
It wouldn't have. You'd have been paying every time.
Exactly. Twice.
Yes.
So.
And again, when you did it again, because you're going to leave it open again.
Exactly. But, you know, I went in with the intent, I did a little bit of breathing ahead of time. I joined it with a smile. But that's something that we knew when Heather started out, how are you going to take these habits into the holiday season? And my holiday habit is to be of peace to anyone that I come in contact with, because who knows what they have at home or
Yeah.
what they're struggling with. So I'm not out a whole lot. So like Jessica said, she's getting up specifically to go take her smoke break, which I know you don't smoke, but it's required that I get up and go for a walk. I have to do that. That is my habit, and I'm declaring it right now that every day from now until December, I'm going to go for a walk.
Okay.
That's my declaration.
Good. We're blessed with great weather. We can do it, Lise. Come on.
Yes, we can.
Well, we're in Florida, so we can too.
Oh, you
Yeah,
guys are
so-
too.
We're coast to
Yeah,
coast.
so for me, we do I've been starting to walk to the school to pick my daughter up. So we scooted, like me and my son, we scooted to the school. And the only day I don't do it is Tuesdays when we have class, because literally class pickup time, is the same time. So we parlay a little bit, it takes us it won't be as fast. So that's my goal for the rest of this time when it's nice. I mean, even when it's the excuse of it being hot is just an excuse, right? So the first day I failed, though. I ran. I walked, and my son scooted, and his little butt don't scoot slow. So I'm with my daughter's scooter over my shoulder. So the second day I was like, you know what? You're not going to get me again. My husband bought me a scooter, I want to say a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm not even sure. And I scooted with him. And he was mad because I'm like scooting behind him. But I told my husband, I was like, scooting don't give me exercise, but it does, guys. It burnt my legs. I had to switch legs. I was like, this is thing. So my daughter comes out and she's like, I gotta take a break. My leg is hurt. I said, if you don't get your little 7-year-old, get it together. You are too young to be switch legs, girl. But that's what I did. That's what we're gonna do. If there's no reason why we can't get that in, right? So I just shut down whatever I'm doing. Yeah.
How did that make you feel? Did that make you feel childlike?
Yes, girl, we were scooting. I know people were looking at us, but it did. It's amazing because you look at, like, people, my husband bought the scooter, and I'm thinking to myself, like, did you buy it for me or you bought it for you? Because I think you bought that for you. But he does. When the kids get on their thing, he's like, I can't keep up with these kids. So he scoots behind him. My son doesn't care. Like, he's 3 and he can ride a bike without training wheels.
Oh,
and
wow.
He's gone. And I'm like, when I'm running, I can keep up with him, but he's really fast on his bike. And I'm like, you know what? I gotta fix my.
Oh, we can't hear you now.
Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Okay.
It fell out.
Had to connect.
I got these different earpieces and I don't like them. The new ones, the upgraded ones, they don't sit in my ear as good as the older ones. But we're gonna move on. But yeah, so scooting, that's how we do it now. We're going. That's where I'm getting my extra exercise on top of my 5 a.m. workout.
Right.
That's where you have to make what fits in your day. And that's the problem. People are always looking left and right to what everybody else is doing instead of working with what works for you. So if you absolutely cannot get up at 5 a.m., figure out what time you can get up to at least do some in-house work, in-house, moving your body just before you go and see how much different you feel. Like Lisa, you get up and you drink water. I don't drink coffee. I've never have drank coffee. I just cannot stand the taste. And when I did, I think it was years ago, people were like, oh, you should drink it, have this thing. And I'm like, I had this much milk with this much coffee and this much sugar. So I'm like, what the hell am I doing this for? Like, I don't need this. I have the natural energy. As we get, older, it's like you figure out that balance, like what works for you. How could you get up? If 5 a.m. is not for you, if 6 a.m. is better, and then you just figure out in your day, literally sit down and look at your day and see where you can fit doing something. Because that's where it boils down to. We all create this thing in our head. I don't have time for this. You'll never have time if you continue to say you don't have time. That is the biggest thing.
And we all feel guilty if we decide we're going to do it at 6 a.m. and we don't. We feel horrible and
you're bad, right?
So not doing it. So then do it at 10, do it at 11, do it at 1, whenever you can do it. Just get it in.
Take that smoke break and just go outside.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was walking somebody through the insight questions yesterday. That's like something we do in our Clarity Catalyst coaching. And I did it with her. And my thing was like, why do I wait till the last minute? Because I wrote my issue and then you answer questions about your issue. So like, why can't I get this done, like this presentation done before the night before? And I'm writing through it. And then it occurs to me that there are 4 mornings a week that I get up at 5 to go exercise, but there's 3 mornings a week that I don't. And I could. And I'm like, well, that's like 6 hours I would have all to myself when no one's going to be awake. No one's going to bother me. And I thought, well, I could use that time more wisely. I don't, and it just came to me. So I'm going to start. That's my new habit. It's hard to commit to that 7 days a week. There's probably one day at least that I sleep a little bit, but
I take one day that my alarm does not go off. 1 day a week.
And then you're going to wake up anyway at the same time. It always happens.
I'm still awake. Exactly.
I just usually go back to lately. I've been going back to sleep because my house has been so full. I just haven't wanted to get up because everyone was up.
So one of my clients that I just finished a VIP session with was very sedate and sat on the couch a lot. Okay. So instead of creating this, I created a movement menu for her.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Instead of exercise, there's something with the word exercise that can be positive and can be negative. Yes. And so I suggested a movement menu with her, and it included standing up and sitting down at her desk at work. Mm-hmm. It also included taking one piece of laundry from her bedroom to the laundry basket one at a time.
I do that on accident.
That's usually it's a sock that's left behind.
She truly started feeling her body moving, because before she didn't have any movement.
Yeah.
And then she told me that she went on a walk with her daughter. And it's like, we are making such huge progress. What a huge, huge win. Mm-hmm. And then, we are working on her decluttering. And every time she got up off the couch, she was to take one thing and find a place for it. And so in the 12 weeks, she has a clean kitchen counter now.
Wow.
Nice.
And
clutter can get overwhelming.
Yeah. And so sometimes we look at things and it is overwhelmed, but if you just do small hinges swing large
baby
doors.
Steps.
Tiny steps.
Yes. Baby steps. Yes. What about Bob? Listen, Bob, baby steps, right?
But there's always success in every day. There's always success in every moment. And
being intentional.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. Another thing that I poured in, because sometimes in the morning I listen to music, but when I'm working out, but sometimes I listen to books. And the first book that I listened to was by David Goggins, who is a Navy SEAL. And that just rocked my world. And he has an amazing story, but it's really all about mindset. It's really all about overcoming your mind. Mm-hmm. And man, that man was amazing. And I listened to it like 2 times, maybe 3, 2.5 before I went on to the next one, which was Atomic Habits by James Clear. And I was just so focused on overcoming my mind. And then James Clear comes in with these tiny steps and visual cues. And I was ready for it.
Yeah.
I do too. It's so good, but it really helped me to understand, start small, just start thinking about it and then take one little step towards it. Like I told my friend I couldn't be there at 5 this morning, but I could get there by 5:15 because I knew I could adjust that much in the first day.
Well, I was listening to Mel Robbins. You guys know Mel Robbins?
Yes, I love her.
And she gave an overview of creating a vision board. And we have all these lofty dreams over here. Yep. But what about creating that little bridge that's going to get us there?
Oh, yeah.
We've got to create that little bridge with wins, you know.
Celebrate the wins, too.
Yeah, because we can say overwhelm. I'm never, I want to do this and do that. But let's create the small wins and the bridge.
Yeah.
And then we feel successful along the way with that vision in mind. And then that led me on to her 5 second rule, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When
Do it.
the
Do
alarm
it.
goes off and you go high five.
Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm just like on fire
Yeah.
with all this. So my new habits are just, what can I learn that is going to inspire someone and myself? That is what I'm trying to do. And it's so
That's awesome.
wonderful to be on this call with you coaches, because you're all so inspiring to me.
Yay.
Back
So-
All
at you,
about who you
Grace.
surround yourself with.
Yes.
Talking about dancing. So I play for the last, since I want to say the last 2 days, 3 days. I've been playing Because I'm Happy when we drive to school. So our drive isn't really long, but I started, and one morning I got out the truck and my daughter was already on the slow stroll bus, right? So I was like, you know what, let's change the mood, right? So I get out the car and I'm dancing, and her and my son are just looking at me like I'm crazy, but I keep dancing. This car pulls up with this man and these 2 little boys, and my daughter, she's like, he's looking at you. So I turn around and I keep dancing. I was like, I don't care. I said, he can come over here and dance. But what I did was I had my front door open and her door open so everybody could hear the music. So you know what I'm dancing to. And I just kept dancing and spinning around. And literally as they walk, they watch me to see how I'm going to continue to dance. And my husband's like, I could never do that. And I'm like, I don't give a damn. Like, you can watch me dance. You can either dance with me, you can stare at me. Because when my daughter was 3, we went to see, what movie was that? I can't remember what it was. It may have been Frozen. Well, after the movie was done, we only went to see one movie because that child did not sit down. And now I was like, I cannot go to a movie with a child. Like, who does this? But she's all up, walking. She can't sit down. So I was like, after the end, she's dancing in the front. She's like, Mommy, come dance with me. And I danced with her. He's like, oh my God, how could you do that? I said, I don't give a damn about these people. I'm going to live my best life, because all my child is going to think all that is creating a block for my child of embarrassment to do something that she's passionate about or she loves, or, like, makes her heart smile. So for me, I want everybody listening, like, even if you don't want to dance with your child in the front of the movie theater or dancing outside your truck, do not hinder your children by telling them not to do it,
Right.
or not express, like the singing. My daughter says she was playing something. I said, can you please not play that right now? She's like, what, you don't like it? And I said, I just would like for you not to do it right now. And she's like, well, that means you don't like it. I said, no, this time my mental, I can't deal with it. So I don't want to create this, like, your thing that whatever you're doing is cool. But it was killing my ears. But at that moment in time, it wasn't gonna, because we read all these books about how parents block their children from stuff because they don't do it after. But for me, I'm very conscious of what I respond to her, because I'm like, it's not that I don't love it, baby. I just, right now, mentally, I got too much pounding in my head that I cannot process everything that's going on. She's like, oh, okay.
My 8-year-old likes to beatbox, and he's pretty good, but it drives me insane sometimes. But I don't want to tell him, hey, don't do that, because there's some band that I listen to, they're a cappella. I can't think of what they're called, but there's a guy in there that beatboxes throughout the song, and he sounds like an instrument. And I'm like, what if that could be Jack? Like, I don't want to say, don't do that. And this morning he was like, I got a new one, Mom. And he's beatboxing on the way to Minecraft camp. And I was like, that's amazing. It's over yet.
This is so great. How long is
He's like, I can go on. And I was like, oh, well, we're picking up your friend, so you'll have to show it to him. But I'm like, please don't do it at camp. I did tell him that you might get in trouble at camp. Not everyone appreciates it like me.
Yeah, not everybody loves your beatboxing.
But I bet he beatboxed all day. Who knows?
Yeah, he probably did.
Yeah.
But yeah, is anybody else want to share?
Well, I have on here that we should have one word answer from each of us. Why would you want to hire a coach?
Can I give 3?
You can give 3.
Okay. Accountability, clarity, and motivation. Those are my 3 for hiring. That's why I did it right in the beginning too. I needed to find I needed to motivate. I needed to get clear, and I needed to motivate myself. And then I needed somebody to like just be there to be my greatest cheerleader.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good. Who wants to go next?
Me, I'll go. So clarity was my first one. Accountability was all those ones, but I say achieving, like
Oh yeah.
achievements. Like
Mhm.
it's like you set out to do these things, and they never get that. It never gets further than right here, because you're always mentally, you're always thinking about, okay, how perfect you should do it, or what if I do this and somebody thinks this. For me, it's achieving something, because yes, that accountability, somebody's holding you accountable to achieve that goal, to achieve that
Mhm.
thing that you want, even if it's just small. It's still somebody else, because apparently the people in your circle aren't holding you accountable
Oh
to
no.
achieve that thing, right?
No.
Or they can't get out of their own way. And that's my thing. Like, you, for me, my husband told me, we had a conversation that I am a high achiever. He told me I'm an overachiever, and I said I don't overachieve. I achieve at my level, and if you can't come to where I am, that's not my problem. So I'm just going to say that achievements, the goals, because people are like,
Beautiful.
achievements, you could do anything. Your goals.
Agreed.
If I had, I'd start my one word with vision,
Mm.
and I would add accountability. But I hold a powerful vision of
Yes.
my client and my friends, and because I want to always look at them at their greatest potential,
Mhm.
Yes.
and
Beautiful.
that's how I started. What's that vision you have? What is it that you want? And if you create that future vision, how can we get there?
Yeah.
So
Mine, I have two: habits and transformation. Because we all have
Yes.
habits, good or bad. Are they serving
Yes.
you or hindering you? And it's really hard to create them or change them without another set of eyes helping you see them. My
Yes.
husband is calling me. He wants to know if I have his keys. I don't know. Maybe he's texted me. He just FaceTimed me. I think that was on
It's
accident.
like, answer the phone.
But without habits, you can't transform. So
Yes.
that's it.
Beautiful.
Nice.
I like it.
Okay. Well,
I like all of
we'll be
them.
back. We will be back next Thursday.
Yay.
I don't know if we're gonna do the same time again. I don't know if we chose this time as our time,
I don't
but
know
we'll see.
either.
We'll post it. It'll be up. We'll promote it. It'll be a thing. So
Yeah.
I would.
It will be on
love
Thursday,
for.
I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's it. Thursday
Every
is our
Thursday,
day.
regardless.
It's just
Okay.
the time.
Okay.
Yes. So, but we will be back, and I enjoyed talking to you ladies again today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yay.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great
Bye.
one.